The Bombers won one of the ugliest games I've watched. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Bomber video. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers win by a score of 17-16 over the junior Saskatchewan Roughriders, as Saskatchewan was sitting a lot of guys. And man, I don't think, firstly, I'm not pleased with this game. I'm not, and I don't think you should be either. Winnipeg gets the win here, but this is an ugly win against a Saskatchewan team that is sitting a considerable amount of people. Again, not like there's no starters. There certainly is. Some in a decent amount, but there's also a lot of really key players that are not in. So let's go through that. Firstly, on the Bomber side of things, Dembski is out as well as Dylan Mitchell, and so Gavin Cobb goes into the lineup. On the Saskatchewan side, Jake Mayer's in. Trevor Harris is out. Micah Johnson is out. Keyshawn Johnson is out. Samuel Emelis is out. Marcus Sales is out. Yoshi Hardrick is out. AJ Ouellette is out. And I don't even know if Dante Myers was in. I think he might have been out. And then obviously Schaefer Baker is out. There's so much. There's so many guys who weren't playing. And so there's no excuse for this game being as close as it is. But let's get started. First quarter, Trey Vabel would have a great return at the start, but that ball comes out just near the end. Ryder gets the ball on the Winnipeg 43-yard line. Defensive pass interference on Winnipeg, though, as the Riders go for a flea flicker. And as it's coming towards the end zone, the guys just kind of collide. And so accidental pass interference there. But it's just ruled just straight up pass interference, but it is accidental, but it is what it is. I'm okay with that. Robustelli looked a little bit hurt and in some pain. So hopefully Robustelli is okay. Again, I never wish for any player to be injured or whatever. So hopefully whatever hurt for him there, heals quickly. Riders get the touchdown. Lothar hits the conversion. So it's 7-0 Saskatchewan right away. So not very keen about that. There'd be a good pass for Gavin Cobb to kind of establish that connection right away. The Riders then take defensive pass interference themselves, making it a first down for Winnipeg. Andre Pruitt is doing this game, so there's going to be a lot of PI penalties, and there were a lot of penalties in this game. But, it's exactly what you learn to expect for that, for better or for worse. Strav gets it done in short yardage, and then the Bombers keep pushing it down, and that's when Ontario Wilson gets a very nice touchdown. Corner route for Wilson. He's wide open, makes the catch. Convert is good, 7-7 tie. The Bombers push, and then a really, really beautiful hurdle by Brady Oliveira to keep moving the chains and getting it down the field. There'd be some offsetting misconduct penalties. Strav would go for it on the 4-yard line, and then they would take a procedure penalty. I don't like putting Strevler in this early. They're jumping the gun on it, and I don't like it. And the Bombers would get stopped there. They would be forced to kick an 11-yard field goal, and this is exactly why I don't like that. You're not close enough. You got to be bare minimum 3 yards or closer, like on first down. And so, yeah, I just don't like it. There would be a penalty against Winnipeg, as it would be a major foul blindside blocking penalty that they would get. And that would be it for the first quarter. Into the second quarter, the Riders would start it with a drive. They would take a procedure penalty. Lawson and the defensive line would have a beautiful sack. And then it would go back and forth for a while. There really was not a lot going on. This game would get kind of boring. Sheehan's punts were good, and the Riders punter was fucking perfect for his first two, and then he kind of shit the bed a little after that. But seriously, he looked like the star of the game for a short bit. He had one that went out right at the 2-yard line and one at the 4, and then he just had an ugly one after that, and it kind of ruined that. But yeah, they would go offside for Saskatchewan. Then Brady Oliveira would go offside. Bombers would push. Sheehan punts it in for a single. And at this point, I wrote down that the Blue Jays had lost. I'd been kind of keeping tabs of the Blue Jays game. And the Jays are playing well. They're up 2-1, and then they put Little in, and Little was terrible. And then Cal Raleigh hits a home run, and then it's a tie game, and Little walks 2 more guys, and then another guy comes in there and gets a grand slam, which I don't really blame Little as coach. The Schneider not put him in, should not have put him in. I thought there were some coaching problems there, but the Jays ended up losing 6-2 because they gave up a grand slam after. So just a historic collapse of the Toronto Blue Jays in near the end of that game. So hopefully they win game 6 and 7 of the ALCS to go kick some Dodger ass. But anyways, sorry, I got sidetracked. I've been watching a lot of MLB baseball. Brett Lawther would hit a 42-yard field goal, making this 13-11 Saskatchewan. And that would be the score at halftime. That's right. We were losing at halftime to the Saskatchewan Junior Riders. Just ridiculous. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Third quarter. And so I wrote, because we started to get a little bit of rain, I just wrote, it's raining, it's pouring. The fucking Bombers are snoring. Wake up! And then they would. And I wrote, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Rider fumble. Bombers get the ball. They push it. Castillo hits a 22-yard field goal, making this 14-3 for Winnipeg. There being illegal contact in the receiver penalty for us. And I just wrote down, I'm not impressed. I'm not going to lie. A lot of people are pointing fingers about problems of this game. A lot of people pointing at Zach Collaros. I don't like I don't like the pick he threw. However, every other problem he had in this game traces back to one big thing. Firstly, he goes 14 for 25. So you're thinking, wow, he usually has a better completion percentage. Do you know when he had time to make any pass today? He was constantly under pressure. Micah Johnson wasn't in, yet the Riders D-line hadn't lost a step. I'm not going to lie, as a guy who really defends the O-line, because, I used to play O-line myself. I understand the position and how it's very much the first to blame, last to fame. And they look bad tonight. Run blocks, pass protection especially. It was ugly. It was very, very ugly. I don't think Collaros played that bad. Take away the one interception. I think in terms of a lot of those incompletions, there's one where he literally hits Stearns right in the chest and in his hands, and he just drops it. And then a lot of ones where some of them got swatted down because, again, too much pressure. And then some of them were just instances of him just trying so hard to make a play out of something, but his pocket's collapsing, so there's not much you can do about it. I was pissed off. It goes back and forth a little bit. Bombers would be about to punt, but then O'Shea challenges for defensive pass interference. The challenge succeed. So PI against the Riders. And I just wrote down, our O-line can't defend a B-tier D-line. Very disappointed in how close this game is. Riders take a procedure penalty. Brett Lawther hits a 31-yard field goal, 16-14 Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is now ahead again. What the fuck? Riders go offside. We try throwing to Eli because that was a smart play near the start of the year when we were in BC. And that was just a really good play. They never would have seen it coming. But I'm not going to lie. Jason Hogan's play calling, I do not understand today. And I say that as someone who, I'm not going to say he's defending Jason Hogan, because I really don't. It's more of just, I feel like I give him a little bit more benefit of the doubt than some people do. Today, there seemed like there was conflict, where there was clearly a disconnect between the players and the play calling. And he's, you know what? He seemed like an inexperienced play caller that really started to learn, and it just feels like now he's slipping back into where he was. And so, I like pieces of his playbook, but then there's a good amount that I don't. And it's just his situational awareness I'm concerned about. And that's something that I guess he just needs more time to learn that. So, or no time and he's fired, according to some people. So, and I'm not going to put my throw my hat in one way or the other. I see the arguments. Collaros, afterwards, there would be a procedure penalty to us. Collaros then gets hit and limps to the sidelines. Thankfully, he'd come back, though. Riders were punted again. And I just wrote his punts have been incredible. Collaros is back out, so good for him. Bombers offense goes absolutely nowhere. And then the Riders get possession, and Jack Cohn goes in. Keep in mind, Jake Mayer had been playing this entire game. So their third string quarterback goes in. Fucking embarrassing. That is embarrassing. They have the confidence to throw out Jack Cohn. No offense to Jack Cohn, but Jack Cohn, Zach Collaros, seriously? And then the Riders would be forced to punt, and their punts actually was pretty bad after that. So it is what it is. Back and forth a little bit. And then Jack Cohn throws like a 30-yard bomb down the field. Like, what is going on here? Brett Lothar would go for a 49-yard field goal. He misses it. And Trey Vavel would have a great return. And it goes back and forth a little bit. There'd be a good pass for Wheatfall. There'd be one instance where Collaros would pass for Wheatfall, and Wheatfall would just stop running for it. And sure, the ball didn't end up anywhere near him, but he also gave up on the play. So what is he doing? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Collaros then throws a pick. I don't like this pick. I don't. Like, I literally, like, I'm not gonna lie. I was my mental bandwidth sitting at Princess Auto Stadium was like, I'm like, what am I seeing? This is such an ugly shit game. Like, I literally wrote down exactly how I was feeling. Like, I'm like, this is like the Australians losing an armed military conflict to flightless birds. This feels like as embarrassing as like the Emu War. This is brutal. What's going on here? So then there would be a great run by Brady Oliveira, because we finally then realized that the passing game wasn't working. So try running the ball. Newsflash, if you pass every single play, they will cheat. The defense will cheat. They will cater more towards that because they know you're going to do that. Run the fucking ball when you got Brady Oliveira. Seriously. Ugh. And so Castillo would go for the field goal near the end of the game, about 40 seconds left. He hits the field goal. However, there's a flag down. The Saskatchewan Roughriders would take a 10-yard pyramiding penalty. It's not a penalty you see very often. To be honest, it was one of those penalties that I didn't really know much about. For those who are not aware, pyramiding penalty is when you are either where you're trying to essentially like stand one guy on top of another guy, like holding a guy up to block a field goal or a convert. This would also, the pyramiding penalty could also be if you were using the uprights themselves in a similar way. Like if you were actually like hanging off the uprights, or if you were grabbing onto the uprights for something. So that's another example of something that could be a pyramiding penalty. It's a very rare penalty. Not something you often see. Bombers would take a knee, though, because it'd be first down then. So the Bombers would take a knee to kill down some clock before they would go for kind of that buzzer beater field goal. And one thing I will say, so they take the knee after the first time, and then they go to take a knee a second time. Collaros does something really sneaky here that I'm not going to lie, I kind of love. And it's that he takes the snap under center, but then he like kind of like juts off to the side a little bit and then takes a knee. And the reason is simple. They were on the either right or left side hash, depending on what way you were watching it from. From Collaros' perspective, this would be the left side hash. And it was Zach Collaros just trying to make that final field goal, despite how close it is, just a little bit straighter for Sergio Castillo. A little bit of a kind of a funny thing to do, as no one's really going after him because everyone knows he's taking a knee, but just kind of a smart play there. So Castillo hits a 22-yard field goal. 17-16 win for Winnipeg. Now, to be honest, this game didn't really matter that much. Although I will say it's ugly. A lot of people are saying, man, I don't know, like, you know, Winnipeg is not going to do anything in the playoffs. Like, this confirms it. And it's like, playoffs is a different animal, my friend. You know, you can ask Montreal, who went 16-2 and then got bitch smacked. You can ask Toronto, who went on a great year I'm just talking from the past few years. And then how many picks did Chad Kelly throw in the East Final? 4, 5, something like that. So playoffs are a different animal, for better and for worse. And so thankfully that has worked to the Bombers' advantage for the most part in the past few years, and hopefully that continues. However, the Edmonton Elks BC Lions game happened, which was arguably the more important game because this directly affects if Winnipeg clinches. Edmonton lost 37-24. So Winnipeg clinches a playoff spot. The Bombers are in the 2025 CFL playoffs. It is unknown whether they will be playing through the West or the East. To be honest, as of right now, the East seems a little more likely, but we still haven't seen Calgary's game tomorrow against the Toronto Argonauts. So who knows? Maybe the Argos are able to beat them. But most likely it looks like Winnipeg will be playing out of the East. So we'll have to see. I want to know what you guys think of this video of Winnipeg making the playoffs, of all this sort of stuff in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys check out my content with Rick over on Canadian Football Central. So this beautiful thing right here. Good stuff. Link to that in the description below. As we do league-wide CFL coverage, we got all sorts of stuff there. We just released a video on the all the performances happening. So that'd be Machine Gun Kelly with the halftime show, as well as Our Lady Peace with the kickoff show. So make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Let me know what you guys thought of everything in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video, share it around, and subscribe if you haven't already, as it helps out the channel a ton. And peace, love, and positivity, all you wonderful people at home. We will see you guys next time.